For like ever, we've interacted with computers one way. Clicking, tapping, swiping. We've been telling them what to do. But what happens when they start talking back? That's what we're jumping into today. We're looking at these two big worlds of user experience. The graphical interfaces we're all super familiar with, and these new conversational ones that are, well, they're kind of changing the game.
So what's it going to be? Point and click or just talking? I mean, that's the big question, right? It sounds so simple, but it represents this massive shift in how we deal with our tech. Let's dig in and figure out what's really going on here.
Okay, so on one hand, you've got the good old GUI, the graphical user interface. You know, the world of icons, menus, buttons. We've been living in it for decades. But on the other hand, there's CUX, or conversational user experience, and that's all about having a conversation. Think about it this way. It's the difference between clicking through 5 different pages on a confusing website just to find the return policy versus just asking a chatbot, hey, how do I return this? See the difference?
And right at the core of this whole CUX thing is a field called conversation design. Now, this is super important. It's not just about programming a machine to spit out pre-written answers. No, it's way deeper. It's really the art and the science of teaching computers how to communicate like a real person. So the whole thing feels less robotic and way more, well, human.
And this is where we get to the first huge difference between these two worlds. I mean, this is probably the most fundamental shift of all. It boils down to one simple question. Who has to do the learning? Is it you or is it the machine?
I mean, really think about that for a second. It's a subtle but pretty massive power shift, isn't it? For our entire digital lives, we've been the ones learning the computer's language. We had to learn what every little icon means, how to navigate these crazy menus. But with conversation design, the whole script gets flipped. The entire burden shifts. The goal now is to make the system learn our language, so we can just talk, naturally.
And this quote just nails it. Kathy Pearl, who's a huge name in this space at Google, puts it perfectly. The whole point of conversation design is teaching computers to communicate like us, not the other way around. I mean, that says it all. We're moving away from having to learn the machine's weird language just to get something done, and we're moving toward a world where the tech understands us. It changes our role from just being an operator to being more of a collaborator.
So, okay, if the machine is doing more of the learning, what does that mean for us? Well, it leads right into the second big difference. It eases our mental load. Seriously, just think about how much brain power you waste just trying to find something on a website or in an app. It can be exhausting, and these two approaches, GUI and conversational, handle that problem in completely different ways.
A GUI is kind of like being dropped into a massive library with thousands of books, and someone just says, okay, go find this one specific sentence. You're left to wander the aisles, scanning shelves, reading titles. It's a lot of work. A great conversational interface, on the other hand, is like walking up to the librarian. You just ask, hey, where can I find this? And they don't just point you in the right direction. They walk you over to the exact book, open it to the right page, and point to the sentence. It cuts through all the noise by just asking what you want up front.
So how do designers actually pull this off? Well, there are 2 key tricks. First, they set clear expectations from the get-go. A bad bot says something vague like, how can I help? A good bot says, hi, I can help you book an appointment, check your account balance, or connect you to a human. What do you need today? See, it gives you the menu. Second, they break stuff down. Instead of throwing a giant, intimidating form at you, they guide you through it, one simple question at a time. It feels so much more manageable.
All right, let's be real. No system is ever going to be perfect. Things are going to go wrong. Errors will happen. But the way things go wrong, well, that's a huge design choice. And this is another place where GUI and conversation design are worlds apart.
You know the feeling, right? You're using some app and suddenly, bam, a pop-up that just says, invalid input. It's like hitting a brick wall, a total dead end. It doesn't help you, it just stops you. A well-designed conversation, though, treats the mistake not as a dead end, but as a little detour. Instead of pointing the finger at you, the system actually takes the blame. It'll say something like, oops, my mistake. I didn't get that. Can we try another way?
And the golden rule, the absolute #1 rule, is never ever blame the user. If something goes wrong, it's the system's fault, not yours. So instead of just throwing its hands up and quitting, a good system will try to fix the conversation. Maybe it'll rephrase the question, or it'll give you a few multiple choice options to clarify, or if it's really stuck, it'll pass you off to a real person. The goal is always, always to keep the conversation moving forward.
And you can't overstate how high the stakes are here. This quote from Google's own guidelines says it all. Just one badly handled error can totally destroy a user's trust. It can undo dozens of good interactions. That's why designing for these graceful failures isn't just some nice little feature. It is absolutely essential.
If you get this wrong, the whole thing falls apart.
Okay, so this is all really cool, but it begs the question, who's actually building these things? Who are these conversation designers? Well, the answer is probably not who you think. This is not just a field for software engineers and coders anymore, not by a long shot.
And that's because building a good conversation isn't fundamentally a technical problem. It's a human problem. You need this really unique blend of skills, a bit of psychology, a lot of good writing, some smart strategy. It has way less to do with writing code and everything to do with understanding how people actually talk and connect with each other.
I mean, just look at this list of backgrounds. It's amazing. The people who are literally shaping how we talk to AI. They used to be speech-language pathologists, therapists, English teachers, copywriters, even artists who design games. And you have to ask, why them? It's because every single one of those jobs is about being an expert in communication, in empathy, in taking someone on a journey. They get people.
So where does that leave us? Is conversation just better than a GUI? The answer, pretty clearly, is no. That's not the right question. It's not about one thing replacing the other. The big takeaway here is context. If you're looking at a super complex data dashboard, you want a GUI. A screen full of charts is perfect for that. But if you need to quickly book a car while you're walking down the street, a conversation is way better. The future isn't about one winner. It's about picking the right tool for the job.
And that brings us to one last kind of mind-bending question to chew on. As our devices get better and better at just talking with us, as they get more fluent in our language, what happens to the screen? Do we even need it anymore? Is it possible that the most important, most powerful interface of the future is one we won't even be able to see?